I've been a scout leader for almost 20 years now. I've seen every prank, every scraped knee, every late night ghost story around the fire. But this one, I can't make sense of. I've written and rewritten this post a dozen times, trying to find a rational explanation. And maybe someone here can help me. Maybe writing it out will help me sleep again. Maybe someone here can help me. Maybe writing it out will help me sleep again. It happened 3 summers ago during our big regional campout. Nearly 50 scouts from a dozen different troops pitched tents in the old forest reserve near Pine Hollow. It's an isolated place, acres of thick spruce and pine with the ground soft from decades of needles. No cell service, no generators. Just the hiss of the campfire and the whispers of the trees. Round 1. After dinner the first night, one of the older scouts suggested we play Sardines. If you've never played, it's like reverse hide and seek. One person hides, everyone else seeks, and when you find the hider, you quietly join them until there's just one seeker left, alone in the dark. David volunteered to go first. He was tall, quiet, a reliable kid who took things seriously. We gave him 5 minutes to hide and then spread out with our flashlights. The forest at night feels alive. Every beam of light catching 1,000 eyes of dew, every sound multiplied by the trees. At first, it was laughter and calling out, the rustle of branches and crunch of boots. After 10 minutes, though, the sounds thinned out. One by one, the giggles stopped. 15 minutes in, nobody had found David. We were about to call it when we heard it. His whistle. 3 short, 1 long. The scout signal. It echoed strangely through the trees, as if it came from everywhere at once. We followed it, laughing, shouting for him to give us another hint. But the forest kept growing quieter. The laughter and footsteps of the others seemed to fade until I realized I couldn't hear anyone else at all. Just my own breathing and the occasional whistle, now softer, slower. When I finally found them, I nearly tripped into the pit. It was a natural hollow in the forest floor, big enough to hold a small car. They were all pressed shoulder to shoulder, backs to the walls of the pit, faces half lit by the moon. Nobody spoke. They just smiled, whispering for me to join. It was funny at the moment. Eerie, yes, but the kind of eerie you laugh about later. David grinned and said, "You're the last one." I remember laughing back, but my voice sounded strange. Small. Muffled by the trees. Round 2. We played again. This time another troop scout went first. Same result. Lots of laughter, and then silence, then the distant whistle leading us to a cramped hiding spot under a fallen tree. Everyone piled in, giggling and shushing each other. The forest swallowed our noise so completely that I started noticing the silence more than the game. When 50 people go quiet in a living forest, you should still hear something. The wind, the insects, the frogs by the creek. But it was just still. Like the woods were holding their breath. Like the woods were holding their breath. Still, we chalked it up to atmosphere and kept playing. Kids love a bit of spookiness. Round 3. Eric was the kind of scout who couldn't stay serious for 5 seconds. Always cracking jokes, always the loudest singer during campfire songs. So when he volunteered to hide for round 3, everyone groaned and laughed, knowing he'd probably pick some ridiculous spot and then jump out screaming boo when we got close. He vanished into the dark while the rest of us counted by the fire. 50 of us, all laughing, all alive with that nervous energy you get before a game in the woods at night. When the last number was called, the forest swallowed us whole. At first, it was the usual chorus of movement, boots crunching leaves, kids whispering, flashlights bobbing between tree trunks like fireflies. I moved slower than most, letting the others range ahead. I liked to listen to the night birds, the trickle of the creek somewhere off to the left, the faraway murmur of kids calling names. But as the minutes passed, that soundscape began to thin. First, it was subtle. Just a gap between voices, a little too long between laughs. Then the forest started swallowing sound. I'd hear someone shout, "Eric?" And before I could call back, their voice would fade as if the trees themselves leaned in and smothered it. I remember shining my flashlight toward where I thought I heard movement. Only trees. The beam caught a bit of mist twisting between the trunks, like breath. 10 minutes in, I realized I hadn't heard a single person in a while. No snapping twigs, no whispering, just my own boots, the creak of my pack straps, and the shallow drag of my breath. Then, faintly, whistling. 3 short, 1 long. The scout signal. I stopped. The sound was distant, but I couldn't tell where from. It bounced off the trees, soft and hollow, like it was being played inside the wood itself. I called out, "Eric, that you?" The whistle came again, a little closer now, but from behind me. I turned, the flashlight jittering over blank bark and empty space. I tried moving toward it, calling names as I went. No reply. Just the occasional burst of that whistle, like it was teasing me. Always a few steps ahead, or behind, or to the side. 15 minutes passed, maybe 20. My throat was dry from shouting. That was when I started to feel it. That there was something wrong with the forest itself. Not just the silence, but the way it felt heavy, as if the air had weight. Even my own footsteps sounded wrong, dull and muffled, like I was walking on soaked cloth instead of soil. And the trees, I could have sworn there were more of them, closer together, like they'd shifted when I wasn't looking. I saw a movement once, something pale between the trunks. I ran toward it, heart pounding, convinced it was a flashlight beam, but when I got there, it was only moonlight glinting on wet bark. The forest didn't echo my breathing anymore. It absorbed it. That's when panic hit. Not the fast kind that makes you scream and run, but the slow, sinking kind. When you realize you might be the only living thing making noise in miles of dark. I started to talk out loud, just to hear something. "It's fine. They're around. It's just a game." My voice came back small, swallowed whole by the stillness. And then right next to my ear, so close I felt the air stir, came the whistle. 3 short, 1 long. I spun around, flashlight cutting through black. Nothing. That's when I shouted it hoarse, shaking. "I can't find you! I'm done! I'm going to bed!" My voice cracked on that last word. I stood there waiting for laughter, for someone to jump out, for anything. nothing came. I walked back toward camp, following my own footprints in the pine needles. The forest stayed utterly still behind me, not a breath of wind. The silence pressed against my back the whole way, like something following me just out of sight. When I finally broke into the clearing, the fire had burned low. The tents were dark. I didn't see anyone. Just a few dying embers pulsing red like a heartbeat. I crawled into my tent and zipped it tight. For a long time, I could still hear the forest breathing outside. And then softly, just before sleep took me, 3 short, 1 long, right outside the tent flap. Thank you so much for listening to my narration of this wonderful story. Don't forget to support the author, which I have linked in the description, as well as the original story. And I just want to give a quick shout out to my patrons, Scott, Old Penguin, Ellie Hutmeyer, Mr. Sankofa, Austin My Love, Rinku Star, William Hartley, Cupcake Hips, Alonzo, Icy Narrates, Jesse Hartley, Eric Cifuentes, Lawrence Wallen, and Melissa Perez. I also try to link a different charity or a different cause every month and maybe a little more. So don't forget to check out the description to support the author of the story you just listened to and to maybe help somebody else out, even if it's just $1. As always, if you guys have a prayer request, please let me know in the comments. Shoot me a message on Discord. I would love to know how I can be praying for you. Thank you guys so much. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.